The ancient Egyptians are renowned for their sophisticated techniques of mummification, which were deeply rooted in their religious beliefs and cultural practices. This meticulous process of preserving the dead ensured that individuals could continue their journey in the afterlife. Spanning over 3,000 years, mummification techniques evolved, reflecting advancements in understanding and the changing spiritual needs of the people. This article delves into the fascinating methods, materials, and rituals employed in the preservation of ancient Egyptian mummies. The foundation of mummification lay in the Egyptians' belief in an eternal afterlife. They thought that the soul, known as the Ka, required a preserved physical body to inhabit after death. The Ba, or spirit, was free to move between the worlds of the living and the dead, but it had to return to the body at night. A well-preserved body was essential for this process, making mummification an integral part of their funerary customs. The practice of mummification dates back to around 3500 BCE, during the pre-dynastic period, when bodies were naturally desiccated by the dry sands of the desert. Over time, intentional techniques were developed to preserve bodies more effectively. By the Old Kingdom, 2686 to 2181 BCE, the art of mummification had become more refined, with systematic procedures emerging. In the Middle Kingdom, 2055 to 1650 BCE, embalming became more elaborate, and by the New Kingdom, 1550 to 1069 BCE, mummification reached its peak. Techniques continued to improve, incorporating new materials and methods, even as the practice waned during later periods of Egyptian history. Mummification was a complex, multi-stage process that could take up to 70 days. The steps were performed by highly skilled embalmers who worked in designated workshops, often near temples or cemeteries. The process began with the washing of the deceased's body using water from the Nile River, symbolizing purification and rebirth. The body was laid on an embalming table, where it was cleaned thoroughly and prepared for the next stages. To prevent decomposition, the internal organs were removed. The brain was extracted through the nostrils using a hooked tool, as it was not considered significant in Egyptian thought. The abdominal cavity was then opened, and the stomach, intestines, liver, and lungs were removed. These organs were either preserved separately in canopic jars, or wrapped and placed back inside the body. The heart was sometimes left in place because it was believed to be the seat of intelligence and emotion, vital for judgment in the afterlife. In some cases, however, it was replaced with a heart scarab or a substitute. The body was then dehydrated using natron, a naturally occurring salt mixture found in Egypt. Natron was packed around and inside the body to draw out moisture. This step was crucial to halting decomposition. The drying process typically took 40 days. Once the body was dehydrated, it was coated with resins and oils to protect the skin and ward off bacteria. The body was then wrapped in layers of linen. Embalmers often inserted amulets and charms between the layers for protection and good fortune in the afterlife. Each limb was wrapped individually, followed by the torso and head. The final layers of wrapping were secured with resin, creating a cohesive and durable outer shell. After wrapping, the mummy was adorned with a mask, often made of cartonnage, a material consisting of linen or papyrus coated with plaster. For royalty and elite individuals, masks were elaborately decorated with gold and gemstones. The mummy was then placed in a coffin, which could range from simple wooden designs to intricately painted and gilded sarcophagi. Before burial, priests performed the opening of the mouth ceremony, a ritual believed to restore the deceased's senses for use in the afterlife. Finally, the coffin was placed in a tomb, accompanied by grave goods such as food, jewelry, and furniture. The materials employed in mummification were carefully selected for their symbolic and preservative properties. Natron, this desiccating agent, was essential for drying out the body. Resins and oils helped protect the body from decay and held spiritual significance. Linen, used for wrapping, symbolized purity and protection. Amulets, small charms such as the Ankh or the Eye of Horus, were believed to offer magical protection. Cartonnage, a mixture of papyrus or linen with plaster, was used to create masks and body casings. Initially, mummification was reserved for royalty and the elite. However, over time it became more accessible to the middle class, as techniques and materials became more standardized. Pets, including cats, dogs, and even crocodiles, were also mummified, often as offerings to deities or companions for the afterlife. Today, ancient Egyptian mummies are invaluable to historians, archaeologists, and scientists. They provide insights into the diet, health, and lifestyles of ancient Egyptians. Advances in technology, such as CT scans and DNA analysis, have revealed details about diseases, familial relationships, and even causes of death. However, the discovery and display of mummies have also sparked debates about ethics and cultural sensitivity. Many advocate for treating these remains with the respect they deserve, acknowledging their cultural and spiritual significance. The legacy of mummification. The art of mummification exemplifies the ancient Egyptians' ingenuity and their profound belief in the afterlife. Their quest to preserve the human body has left behind an enduring legacy, allowing us to glimpse into their world and their understanding of life and death. These preserved bodies are more than artifacts. They are windows into a civilization that revered the journey beyond death as much as life itself. Mummification was not a uniform process. It varied based on social status, religious beliefs, and historical period. For instance, elite mummies received more elaborate treatments and higher quality materials. Conversely, the mummies of lower status individuals might be less meticulously preserved. Additionally, environmental factors occasionally affected mummification. Some bodies buried in desert graves naturally mummified due to the arid climate, bypassing the need for artificial embalming.